Hello students, today we are going to discuss about the tachyometric surveying. Okay, so this is the second topic in the case in the unit of number 4. Unit number 4. This is the second topic after the curves. Right, the second thing is tachyometric surveying. Okay, so first of all, what we have to see here. Okay, so in the case of trigonometric leveling, right, so we are going to take the reading, right. We are going to take reading the right after knowing the theta value and as well as the horizontal distance d, right. So by knowing this, we are going to find out the elevation of this particular object. Okay, that is the principle what you saw in the trigonometrical leveling, right. Now the thing is, we are not going to measure even this d also, even this d measurement also. Just you are going to calculate, measure the angle theta, right. So based on this value, we are going to calculate both d value as well as the L value, both level value as well as the horizontal distance value, d and L value. So that we can say it is a tachyometric surveying, right. So in the tachyometry, we are not going to use any special type of equipment, but we are going to use same theodolite with other type of lens arrangement, right. Some type of lens arrangement we are going to use the theodolite, right. So to measure the vertical angles, right. So now see the definition of this. Tachyometric is a branch of surveying in which horizontal and vertical distances are determined, right. What is the horizontal distance? Horizontal distance is d and vertical distance is L, right. So vertical and as well as the horizontal distances are determined by taking angular observations with an instrument known as the tachometer, right. So an instrument is called tachometer. So with help of that, right. So what is tachometer? Again, it is a one type of same theodolite. In theodolite, if you are changing the lens arrangement, okay, different type of lenses we are using, right. So in case of cross hairs, no. So then we can call it as tachometer. By using this tachometer, we are going to take only the angular observations, right. So by using this angular observations, we are going to find out the both horizontal and as well as the vertical distances, right. So if you are measuring only this theta value, then you can know the horizontal distance and as well as the vertical distances, right. So now tachyometric surveying is adopted in rough and difficult terrain where direct leveling and chaining either not possible or very tedious, right. So it is used in the rough, right, as it not going to give exact thing, but whenever you are unable to do the leveling, you are unable to do the chaining, right. So both are not, it is very difficult and it is very tedious, it is not possible. During those cases, we are going to use this tachyometric surveying, right. So the accuracy attained is such that the favorable conditions, and it is the error will not exist 1/10. The error will not exceed the 1/10. It is 100, right? 1 in 100. Okay. So that much error should not be there. And if the purpose of survey does not require accuracy, the method is unexcelled, right? So whenever you are doing a survey where the accuracy is not that much needed, then we can use this tachyometric surveying, right? So next we will see tachyometric survey can also be used for railways, roadways, then reservoir capacity or reservoir design. So it is not accurate, even though it is not accurate, but we can use it for the railways, highways, then reservoirs. Next, tachyometric surveying is a very rapid means we can do very fastly. If you take reading of angular value, that is theta values, you are going to tell both L value, that is vertical height, and as well as the horizontal distance immediately. That's why it is called more rapid. Okay, and reasonable contour map can be prepared for investigation works within a short time on the basis of such survey. So since it is a rapid one, okay, so you are going to create the contour maps in a less amount of time, right. So within a short time you are going to make the contour maps. What is meant by contour map? Contours are the lines which are joining the points of having equal elevation. If those contour lines are there in a particular map, that map is called contour map. This contour map having many what is called applications for the reservoir design, right? Reservoir capacity, then canal and roadways, railways, everywhere we want to know the level of particular terrain. So for that case we are going to use the contour map. So to prepare contour map, this tachymetric surveying is helpful for us, okay, in the way of, since it is a rapid one, we are going to prepare that map with less time, even if you are using any level instrument or any tachymeter, right? So in theodolite, okay, by using this tachymeter we are going to make the contour map within a short time, Next, uses of tachymetry. So why it is used, where it is used, right? So like this, now here you can see tachymetry used for the first one, preparation of topographic map, where both horizontal and vertical distance are required to be measured, right? So here, where you don't want to use any horizontal or vertical distances, right? So there you can use this tachymetry. Then survey work in difficult terrain, right? Some maybe water will be there, some marshy land will be there, okay? So such kind of cases where direct methods of measurements are inconvenient, okay? Our inconvenient direct measurements unnappudu idi vaadachu. Next, reconnaissance survey for highways and railways. Reconnaissance is a rough survey. It is a rough survey, right? So if you want to know the railway, highway alignment, okay, through which point it has to move. But those kind of reconnaissance surveys, this can be used, right? So instruments used for the tachymetric surveying, okay. So here one instrument will be there, okay, and also we have a staff, right? So staff will be there, instrument will be there mainly. Now an ordinary transit theodolite, I already told that. So it is a tachymeter is nothing but a theodolite, but it is a transit. That means we can have it, the telescope has to move like this, right? No, 180 degrees it has to transit. Okay, that's why it is called transit theodolite. Fitted with a stadia diaphragm, right? Fitted with a stadia diaphragm. That means in the cross sides will be like this, but here we have a stadia diaphragm like this, right? So two fixed, right? Stadia will be there. If you have this fixed length, then if you see this through the what is called telescope and going to intersect with the leveling staff, right? So whatever reading it is intersected between these two values, you are going to read. From there you are going to calculate the values, right? So that's why inside that lens is going to fit it with a stadia diaphragm. Is generally used for a tachymetric surveying. What is the main instrument you are going to use here? So it is a transit theodolite that is fitted with the stadia diaphragm. It is like this. So we will see how it is look like. Next, the stadia diaphragm essentially consists of one stadia hair above and another an equal distance below the horizontal crosshair. Already I told that this is the vertical and horizontal crosshairs. One is there, right? So one, it consists of a one stadia hair above, right? So one stadia hair it is above. The same distance from the middle we have another stadia line below this line, right? So that's what is telling. One stadia hair is above and other an equal distance below the horizontal cross hair. The stadia hair is being mounted in the same ring and in the same vertical plane as the horizontal and vertical cross hairs, right? So vertical cross hairs ఏ విధంగా అయితే ఉన్నాయో అదే ప్లేన్ లో అక్కడే చోట ఒకటే చోట ఇవి ఉంటుంది, రైట్? అలా ఉంటుందని మనం ఏమంటాము, స్టేడియా డయాఫ్రామ్ అంటారు, రైట్? నెక్స్ట్, the telescope used in stadia surveying, that is stadia surveying are three kinds, right? Whatever telescope you are going to use, na, so that telescope. So this is the simple external focusing type telescope. Okay, external focus means we are going to use external screw for the adjustment of the telescope. Then the external focusing analytical telescope, right? So we have a one type of lens called analytical lens, right? Where that will be used for very accurate and very less tedious type of telescope. So we'll discuss in the coming classes what is analytical lens. Then the internal focusing telescope. Okay, so internally we will adjust the lenses. Okay, so that is called internal focusing if you are doing it externally. So but every case we are going to use normally the internal focusing telescope, right? So now the first type is known as the stereotheodolite, while the second type is known as the tachometer, right? So first thing is stereotheodolite and second thing is called tachometer. Tachometer when it is called when it is just theodolite is fitted with the analytical lens. Next, tachometer has the advantage over the first and the third type due to fact that the additive constant and the what is called multiplication constant, additive constant is going to become 0, right? So that we will discuss why it is used, what is mean by analytical lens, right? So with that what is mean by additive constant, what is multiply constants, we are going to know, right? However, the internal focusing telescope is becoming more popular. Internal telescope is third one, right? Third type is more popular, though it has a very small additive constant. Some of the latest patterns of internal focusing telescopes may be regarded as the strictly analytical. So we are going to use the mainly internal focusing telescope with the analytical lens, right? So now we can see this is the, if you are seeing through the telescope, you can see this type of diaphragm where you can say this is vertical, this is horizontal. From there, one hair is there, bottom, one hair is there. Okay, these are the different patterns of stadia diagrams. You can see 3 lines like this, right? So the height we know, right? So the distance between 2 cross heads is fixed and that will be noted down. It is fixed for a particular instrument. With the help of this instrument, if it is one staff is there now, leveling staff, right? So where we can do this value and this value. Okay, both staff intercept we are going to study. If you are keeping your staff near to the instrument, the value will be very less. If you bring it to the long distance, okay, so with the same constant distance, but staff intercept will get very high value, right? Next, the instrument employed in the tachometry are the engineer's transit and the leveling rod or stadia rod, right? The theodolite and subtended bar are self-reading reducing theodolite and leveling rod, right? So this is the combination, right? The first is engineer's transit and the leveling rod. Already I told that one instrument will be there, okay, tachometer, and we need the some bar or the staff, right? Through this we are going to read the value. For that, the first combination is engineer's transit and the leveling rod. This is one combination. Second combination is stadia rod, okay, or stadia rod. Next, second combination is the theodolite and the subtended bar, okay, it is one type of staff. Then the self-reading theodolite and leveling rod, and next the distance wedge and the horizontal distance rod and the reduction tachometry and the horizontal distances. These are the some of the combinations of both staff and as well as the, sometimes it may be called as staff and sometimes it may be called rod, right? So here whatever it is, that is theodolite, tachometer, whatever you want you can use for this kind of survey. Okay. Next, features of a tachometer or a characteristics of a tachometer. So what kind of special characteristics should be needed for the to recognize a good, right, tachometer? Okay. The first thing is, so if you want to what is called measure the horizontal distance, we have one formula, some d is equals to k into s plus c. Okay, this is the most fundamental formula, right? So here the distance is whatever k is called multiplying constant, k is called multiplying constant, so that will be equals to f by I, right? So f is the focal length of the lens and I is the intercept, and c is called additive constant, and here c is called additive constant. Why it is added to the equation and it is multiplying, that's why it is called multiplying constant. This is additive constant. Okay, so that's why total thing will be equals to d is equals to ks plus c, right? Ks plus c. That's why the multiplying constant f by y will be have a normal value of 100. Okay, so the multiply constant will be equals to 100. Please remember, this is very important. And the error contained in this value should not exceed 1 in 1000. Okay, so the first point what he is telling, the multiplying constant should be equals to 100. Next, coming to the next one, the axial horizontal line should be exactly midway between the other two lines. Okay, the telescope should be fitted with a analytical lens to make the additive constant, right, whatever additive constant is there, C now, so that C is equals to F plus D, and this should be a 0 value. The second very important thing is the additive constant should make to 0 by using a special type of lens called analytical lens. Okay, so the analytical lens, by using this lens we are going to make this C value is equals to 0, right? So K value is equals to 100. So for a good tachometer, multiplying constant should be 100 and additive constant should be a 0 value. Next, the telescope should be truly analytical, right? So truly analytical means it is not going to give any kind of colors. If you are not adjusting the lenses in a proper way, you are going to observe a special type of colors, right? So you are not going to do that. Next, the telescope should be powerful, having a magnification of 20 to 30 diameters. Okay, so we have magnification now, zoom, right? The zoom capacity will be this much, right? Next, the aperture of the aperture of the object should be 35 to 45 mm. So these are the some of the characteristics. Okay, next you can see the leveling rod or stadia staff rod, right? So it will be similar like level rod, leveling staff, right? So here we are going to intercept this staff and we are going to note down the values, right? So here for the shorter distance and longer distance we have two cases here. For the shorter distances, ordinary leveling staff, right? So ordinary leveling staff are used. Okay, so leveling staff can be used for shorter distance. The leveling staff normally 4 meters long, then it can be folded with her parts, right? So we can take it out and we can fold it like this. The gradations are so marked that minimum reading of 0.005 or 0.001 meter can be taken. Next, for greater distances we are going to use this kind of stadia rod, right? The stadia rod is usually one piece having 3 to 5 meters. Okay, it cannot be folded, it is a single piece, right? Length, the pattern of graduation should be bold and simple, right? Bold means it has to be thick, very thick, then only you can see from the long distance, right? Next, different systems of tachometric measurement. So what are the different systems we are going to see here, right? So the various systems of tachometric survey can be classified as, the first one is stadia method, and second one is tangential system, and third one is measurements by means of special instrument. But in our syllabus we are having the two methods, that is stadia method and the tangential method or system, right? Again, stadia method is divided into two methods. One is fixed head method and the second one is the movable head method, right? So what is the fixed head? If you have cross heads like this, right? If you have already fixed this heads now, this is called fixed head method. Okay, so this length can be changed now. So if these two heads are moving, right? So that is called movable head method. Okay, and we have the tangential, where we are going to use the formula called tan theta, right? Based of this tan theta values we are going to find out both the length and distances, right? So that is horizontal distance and vertical distance. Okay, so that is called tangential system. So now we will see one by one. Okay, see, the principle is common to all systems. What is the principle behind this, right? So this common to all systems is to calculate the horizontal distance between 2 points A and B, right? So if you are taking 2 points A and B, right? So their difference in elevation even we are going to find out. Okay, so if here B is there, right? So we are going to know the total distance and even elevation difference also we are going to find, right? So by elevation, by observing the angle at the instrument A, from here we are going to find out what is the angle, right? Instrument A subtended by known short distance along a staff, right? So and the vertical angle to the B from the A, right? So we are going to see the vertical angle theta, and with the fixed stadia diaphragms we are going to see the staff intercept S, right? So by using these two values we are going to calculate horizontal distance as well as the vertical height, or we can call it as elevation. Those we are going to find like this. This is the principle behind hygrometry. Okay. So now we have the first system, that is stadia system. In this system, staff intercepts with a pair of stadia aids present at the diaphragm, right? I told that along with the cross aids we have a what is called stadia aids up and down. Okay. So on the diaphragm. Okay. So those are considered. Now the stadia systems consist of two methods. One is fixed air method and second one is the movable air method. Fixed means it is going to fixed. Movable means these are going to vary, right? Sometimes like this, very small value difference, sometimes very big, like that it will be there, right? So now we will see next thing, fixed air method. Okay, how it is going to work, right? In this method, stadia aids are kept at fixed interval, that is interval and staff interval. The intercept on this leveling staff varies, right? So if you are keeping the staff, right, if you have instrument here, right, instrument here, our lenses are having the fixed stadia diaphragm. If you are having your staff, you will get very small value. If you move further, you will get more value. Still further, you will get still more value. If you are moving away from the instrument, you are going to get more values, right? So in this method, stadia aids are kept fixed at an interval, and the staff interval or the intercept on the leveling staff varies, right? So whatever intercept is there on the staff, it is going to vary. Staff intercepts depends upon the distance between instrument and the station and the staff, right? So this basis of this staff intercept, we are going to know vertical height as well as the horizontal distance. Okay, if it is fixed aids are there, that is called fixed air method. Next, second one is movable air method. That means we are going to move that particular aids, no, both up and down, above and below of horizontal cross air, right? So now in this method, the staff interval is kept constant by changing the distance between the stadia aids, right? So here staff reading is the constant one. The target on the staff are fixed at a known interval, and the stadia aids are adjusted to bisect upper target and lower hair, right? So lower target with the lower hair. Here what you have to do now? In the previous case, the aids are at the fixed rate and the staff will be kept. Okay. Now here in the second case, okay, so here these can be moved, okay, but the values on the staff is going to keep constant. Here it is not constant, these are constant. Now it is ulta, right? So staff reading will be fixed and these aids are adjusted so that it should be the upper hair has to intersect with the upper value and the lower hair should be matched with the lower value. Okay, so now what that's what is telling. The staff interval is kept constant. On the staff we are going to keep our reading as constant by changing the distance between the stadia aids, right? Next, targets on the staff are fixed at a known interval and the stadia aids are adjusted to bisect the upper target at the upper aid and lower target at the lower aid. Next, instruments used in this method are required to have provision for the measurement of variable interval between stadia aids. So variable stadia, we are going to vary the stadia interval so that we are going to see. Now, as it is convenient to measure the stadia interval accurately, the movable air method is rarely used, right? So every time we need to move the stadia aids, but we are not going to use it familiarly. So the fixed method is going to use regular way, right? So next, non-stadia system. If you are not using any kind of stadia diaphragms, that is called non-stadia system. Okay, so this is like tangential one. Okay, so now the method of surveying is primarily based on the principles of trigonometry. If you are using the principle trigonometry, right, so thus the telescope without the stadia diaphragms are be used. This system comprises of two systems. One is tangential system and second one is subtence bar method, right? So in our syllabus we are having the tangential method. Okay, so now we will see tangential method. In this method, readings at two different points on a staff are against the horizontal cross hairs and corresponding vertical angles are noted. So what you have to do here? So we are going to take two values, right? So 1 point, second point. This is B point, this is A point. Readings are at two different points on a staff, right? So instrument will be here. One reading is here, another reading is here, right? So we are going to take on two readings on a staff and taken against the horizontal cross hairs and corresponding vertical angles are also noted down. By using these staff intercept and theta, we are going to calculate the both horizontal and vertical distances. Next, second method in the non-stadia method, that is subtend bar method. Here in this method, bar of a fixed length called subtence bar, right? So that is placed in the horizontal position, right? Next, the angle subtended by two target points corresponding to a fixed distance on the subtend bar at the instrument station is measured, right? So by keeping this fixed one, so whatever angle is going to make, right, up, top and bottom, this is the fixed one, right? So by knowing this theta value, we are going to know the horizontal distances, right? So the horizontal distance between the subtend bar and the instrument is computed from the known distance between the target and the measured measured horizontal angle. So the horizontal distance will be measured with help of the angle here. Okay. Next, up to now we discussed about the what is mean by tachymetry, right? So tachymetry is a type of surveying where we are going to take only the theta value, that is angular values, and we are going to find out the vertical, that is vertical height or elevation, and also horizontal distances, right? So here we are going to use a instrument called one type of transit theodolite, where we have a one special type of arrangement called stadia diaphragm, right? So here we have the along with cross hairs, right? So we are going to have the two hairs up and down, right? Top and bottom have two hairs called stadia hairs, right? So with help of this, we are going to intercept the staff, right? We are going to intercept the staff and we are going to read the value. Based on these theta value and staff intercept, we are going to find out distances of horizontal as well as the elevations, right? So here mainly we are having two types, that is stadia method, another one is non-stadia method. Okay. So in the stadia method we have fixed hair method and movable hair method. Here we are having the tangential, the trigonometrical method, another one is subtence method, right? Subtence bar method. Okay. So these are the things we discussed in this class. Okay. So next class we are going to see the stadia method, how it will be and what will be the this one trigonometry or trigonometry, okay, tangential system. Okay. So that's all for today. Thank you.